How you watch TV is changing, and we want to help settle your fears about streaming. Stay tuned to hear from People's employees about streaming and why it shouldn't scare you.
Well, hello. We are here. This is some of my esteemed coworkers. My name is Maxie, and I'm the marketing manager for People's. And we're here to discuss streaming and why it should not scare you. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves and tell us what they do for People's.
My name is Jared. I'm in Internet Tech Support here at People's.
My name is Kevin, and I am responsible for product development here at People's.
My name is Daniel, and I'm a customer service rep.
Okay, so the first question we're going to ask is, what devices are you guys using for your streaming purposes?
I use a Roku and a Samsung Smart TV and a Vizio Smart TV for all my streaming.
We use a Roku, a Samsung Smart TV, and we also use a PlayStation.
We use the Roku Express, Vizio Smart TV, and our tablets and cell phones to watch Netflix on.
Tablets and cell phones, that's a good point. A lot of us think about Roku, Fire Stick, but we forget that streaming is on every connected device. Android, iOS, it doesn't matter, everything streams today. What are some of the things you like about your different devices? Like, which one's your favorite?
Right now, probably my favorite's going to be my Samsung Smart TV, just the convenience factor of having one less remote, since the TV remote is also the smart function remotes. I just like the simplicity of it, plus it's pretty fast.
I would probably agree with Jared. I like the Samsung, one less device, one less remote type thing. The PlayStation 4 actually has a little bit different menu through the Sony View app, so we kind of like that too. It looks a little different. We can talk about that in a minute.
I like the Roku Express. It's really quick compared to the first and second generation that I had at home, so I think I prefer that right now.
So Kevin mentioned Sony View, and so that's going to lead us right into our next question. Sony View is one of the many streaming platforms that is offered today. And so you guys tell me which platforms you guys are using.
Let's see, I use Netflix and Amazon Instant Video, and on and off I've used Hulu, though I don't have it currently.
We use at home Netflix and Amazon, and then I have, through product development testing here at People's, looked at Sony View, I've looked at Sling, and then a couple of independent over-the-top providers. Their solutions.
Right now we use Netflix and Hulu Live and Skitter TV.
So I'm a Hulu Live customer, and the thing, and we're going to get to that about researching your different platforms, Hulu Live has live locals in what's called the Tyler DMA. So I get to see Katie Vossler and her little weenie dog do the weather every morning, and if that's important to you, then that's when you're going to start doing that research. So tell me, how did you choose your different platforms? What would you recommend to these viewers when it comes to choosing streaming?
A lot of it for me was a combination of price and what content was available on each one, because the big thing, if you don't stream much or you haven't streamed anything before, is you'll find out pretty quickly that not every show and not every movie is on one service versus another, which is why some of us, like I think all of us, other than you, have more than one streaming service at the same time. So that's really the biggest thing I would say.
So I might agree with the millennial here a little bit on price. Not so much in the fact that with your linear TV and your cable TV offerings, those are so much more expensive. Really, when you start looking at over the top, they all get cheaper. And so, you're like, oh, I can have one of these and one of these and one of these. I think we like Netflix for the content most, and I think that would be my advice too, is to just do some research up front on content, because if you are watching one particular program, that may not be available across the platforms. So that would be my advice, would be content research.
I agree. A little research will go a long ways when choosing a platform, and several of them have free trials that you can test them out. You don't have to pay any money. And then also I like Netflix because there's no commercials. Some of them do have commercials, and
like Hulu.
Like Hulu.
Hulu, I say that's a pre-planned potty break. That's all that is.
But, yeah, it's me.
So Daniel, you mentioned the free trial. So how many of you guys, just show of hand, did a free trial before truly committing to your streaming platform? Me too. So everybody does it, so go ahead and jump off that bridge. We would strongly recommend it. That way you can get used to it. Because we're going to get to this. What is the biggest obstacle when you jump into the streaming waters?
A lot would probably be, at least for me, originally my biggest thing was internet speed because I didn't have much of it. So it made it a little bit harder. And not all streaming services are created equal when it comes to what speed they use and how flexible they are when it comes to streaming. Which is one of the reasons why Netflix is so popular, is that you can pretty much stream it on dial-up, just about. Not really, but close. Whereas something like, say, Hulu is more likely to stop and say, hey, sorry, your internet's too slow, and it kicks you out. Where Netflix will kind of auto-adjust the quality to try to let you keep up, so you avoid that buffering circle that no one likes to see.
Yeah, I'd echo that. We're in the country, so I have a 6 to 7 meg download connection. I'm one step on the food chain above the dial-up people, and Netflix works well for us. I think recommendation-wise, you need to jump in, and I always say 21 days to make or break a habit. You need to commit to using the service for 2 or 3 weeks. It looks extremely different than linear TV. You need to scroll, you need to push, you need to, jump in there and play with it. You're not going to break it. It's set
Push all
up
those
to not
buttons.
be broken. Yes, Maxie likes to push buttons even when she shouldn't. And so I would really highly encourage you to just commit to it, use it, scroll around. Each platform has a little bit different channel lineup, but it does look different than linear, so be prepared for that. The other thing that I think you need to consider is we are a DVR family. So when you cut that cable, when you go to over the top, that is not a feature. You're not going to have that little TiVo box or whatever. There are cloud DVR services that you can research as well. And so if DVR is important to you, we don't like commercials. That's something else you need to consider.
It wasn't that big of an obstacle for me to switch over.
Because you're pretty go with the
'Cause
flow
you're-
kind of guy. Daniel. That's what you do. You just jump in.
Right, you just jump in, and the price difference was a big help. Going from satellite, over $100 a month, to Netflix, which was $10.99. So I mean, it really helped any thought in my mind that may have said, this isn't a good idea. So price was probably the biggest help.
I do think something that you mentioned earlier too that has really kind of evolved, and that is having local channels with some of the platforms. We like local channels, so until that was available, we really didn't even consider it.
Which Peoples has Skitter, which is a over-the-top that offers your big four, so to speak, your NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox. And then some ancillary channels that go along with it that are in the local, either Tyler or Dallas DMA. And that goes back to that research that these guys have talked about. You got to do the research, you got to pull things up. On the webpage where you found this video, we're going to have links to some of those most popular streaming platforms. Sony View, Sling TV, Hulu, Hulu Live, DirecTV Now, and then some of the movie ones that we're most familiar with, such as Netflix, Crackle. I think Crackle's still a thing. Amazon Prime Video, that's another one that's pretty popular right now. So all of those, there'll be some links so you can go straight to them. Click on their FAQs, dig around and dig deep. One thing I would like to point out is we all talked about our different devices. All of these platforms are actually going to look a little bit different depending on the device that you're using. Kevin mentioned Sony View and the PlayStation 4. It looks completely different on the PlayStation 4 than an Amazon Fire Stick.
Yes.
I have a Blu-ray player in each of the kids' bedrooms, and everyone looks different when they go to Netflix. Everyone and the kids freak out because they can't find Octonauts, and it takes a second. So just be prepared for that too. It's going to look a little different, and but the cost definitely will outweigh it, and it's worth it. Any final comments, concerns, questions? What would you tell the viewers?
Probably my biggest thing is if you don't like commercials, streaming wins out no matter how everything else shakes down. With, like I said, the exceptions of just a few of them, Hulu, if you go with the cheap package, or some of the live channels, you just don't, you'll thank me.
I just say jump in and use it. Just jump in, try. We've talked a little bit before about why maybe we picked the ones we did early on. We did do research. Netflix, you'll find there's a button on the remote. So, you know, they're just getting easier by the day to use. And I just say go for it.
One thing I forgot to mention, also, if you didn't want to pay for a streaming service like Netflix or Hulu or anything like that, if you have a Roku device or Fire Stick or Apple TV, there are a lot of free streaming channels on there like Pluto TV. Roku has its own channel now, Roku TV, that's free.
So what are some of the
Crackle.
shows you'd see on here, Daniel? Tell them some of the things they would see. Is that gonna be like an I Love Lucy marathon, or is that gonna be new content? I'm a big MASH fan. I know that that's sometimes on some of those free channels.
I haven't seen all the channels yet, but on Pluto TV, for instance, it breaks it down in categories. So you have like maybe 10 to 15 channels that are scary movies,
Oh,
or
Daniel's a big scary movie fan.
or maybe 10 channels that are home improvement channels. It has 10 or 15 news channels, and it puts them in those categories next to each other, and you just scroll through and watch the ones you want. But Pluto is up to the moment viewing that people on cable would see, or something like that. It's not pre-recorded. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting, and it's all free. It just has commercials.
All right, thanks, Daniel. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed our panelists. As always, if you have any questions about streaming or your internet service, Jared would be happy to help. You can always call us here at Peoples. I have seen Daniel walk customers through our Roku box here in the lobby. They send him cookies afterwards, so kind of keep that in mind.
Bribery.
Bribery works very well. You can always call us. You can also chat with us. Our chat button is right down there in the corner of our website. So always reach out, and we are always here to help. Thanks so much.